I don't need to tell you how good I feel. Trevor, over the course of the last 20 years, I have had the good fortune of being able to walk with you in this constituency and to get to know many people over time. And that this is my first platform in this campaign outside of a national platform is special for me. It is special for me because in 1999, in the campaign led by Owen Arthur, and I think, Trevor, you know this better than anyone else, in Licorice Village, Owen and I were walking. I was the campaign manager and general secretary of the party, and we went to meet with the people of Licorice Village. At that time, Johnny Tudor had not yet crossed over into Macedonia. He had not yet become a member of this great party. But that lay before him as it has for so many others, including you, Trevor. But you were with me then. And Owen appreciated the scale of the problem, the gravity of the problem of not being able to have persons access running water and to be able to get planning permission in order to be able to integrate fully into this society and this economy. And he, to his credit, made the initial commitment that the people of Licorice Village and the Bell must not be left on the periphery of this country's development. I give you the facts. I had the good fortune, as I said, to be a witness. I had the grave misfortune of also being a witness to watch the bureaucratic exercises and dilatory actions and the refusal of some to accept that modern technology and creativity could find ways of being able to accommodate human beings, Bajans, to be able to participate and to benefit in that most vital of resources that has become known as the staff of life, access to water. We knew that we would have to balance that right against the need to protect the country's water resources, given the extent to which the Bell is so critical to water management in this country. And the fact is that that is one of the largest areas from which Barbados and certainly the people of St. Michael receive their water supply in this country. I say all of this to let you know that this has been a long and torturous journey. And Trevor will tell you that his voice remained constant like a buzzing bee in the ears of all who would hear and in the face of all who refuse to listen. And that is why I come here tonight to support the candidacy of Trevor Prescott in his effort to be your Member of Parliament again. Not because everybody in this constituency will benefit from that, but because it shows you the character of the man and the persistence of the man to fight against all odds and adversities, to deliver for the people of his constituency, those who perhaps count among the most vulnerable in this nation, if only because of the precarious nature of their existence, by being refused tenure and water so that they could live a basic life of human dignity in the land of their birth or in the land that they have chosen to adopt as adults. It gives me, as Prime Minister of this country, great pride, and as Minister responsible for water resources, great pride, even with great difficulty, myself, to be able to finally not come into this constituency to speak of promises, but to speak of actual reality, and to reflect the fact that I have walked with the brief from the Barbados Water Authority tonight, because you don't normally see me walk with paper. To be able to give me the brief and the update on the provision of water and sewering for the people of Bell Tenantry, Bellevue Gap across the gully, and Bailey's Alley in St. George. It must be the strangest of all coincidences that the people who live in the shadow of the country's water resources, whether at the Bell or whether at Golden Ridge in St. George, should be the people who have been punished from the time modern settlement took place in this country by not having running water into their premises. How can it be that those who live in the shadow of these reservoirs have to be punished daily by not being able to access that which everybody else is accessing while not living next to the reservoirs? Do you understand what I'm telling you? Do you understand the perverse nature of the problem that we had to solve? And tonight, therefore, I can tell you, after much work under Labour Party government, under Owen Arthur, under 10 years of Democratic Labour Party governance, and under us, delayed by the COVID pandemic by 3 years, I can report that in respect to the installation of water supply systems in Bell Tenantry, Bellevue Gap, and Bailey's Alley, that from November last year, the beginning of November, we have installed over 3.3 kilometers of water mains out of the total 4 kilometers needed. In other words, we are almost finished the installation of the water mains for these 3 communities. I can tell you that in the case of the Bell Tenantry, it is virtually all installed. In the case of the Bellevue Gap, it is 94% installed. And in the case of Bailey's Alley, it is more than 53% installed. And some people are already in the position of being able to get their taps turned on soon. The next step will be the installation of the sewer system. Because just as we give them water, we agree that we must protect water for the rest of Barbados, who depends on these areas. And that construction will start in March of this year. I almost said next month because it is almost the end of January. My friends, over 300 households between these three areas. I want to say it clear. Over 300 families. And if you multiply 5 and 6 people and 7 people per family, that is over 2,000 Bajans will now have access to the most precious of commodities, water, that they have never, ever had access to in the history of this country. This is why we were elected to be your government. This is why Trevor Prescott was elected to be your member of parliament. And all the foolishness I hear parading about the platforms and the talk of the Democratic Labour Party, I ask them to show me where the rubber hits the road. And if the rubber doesn't hit the road in giving people water, I don't know who I am and I don't know who they are. My friends, this is but one of the things we have done. And I want to tell you tonight, stay tight and come to Golden Square. Meet me in Golden Square this weekend. Trevor, you will appreciate the significance of that. And if I am late for you tonight, it is only because I have spent the evening refining what will be a major a major consummation of the relationship that we have with the Bajan people. Because when you are together in the same relationship and you want to consummate it, you want to make people feel better and happier and more joyful and more able to face the days as they go forward. You know it and I know it. And therefore, when we come to tell you what we will do for pensioners in this country, what we will do for the most vulnerable, what we will do for those earning 50,000 and less. In other words, all who are poor and all who constitute lower middle to middle income in this country, you will begin to understand that when we told you, walk with us in 2018 and let us stabilize this country from the bleeding. When the patient bleeding, you got to stop the bleeding. And when you stop the bleeding, you got to start the recovery, the operation and the recovery. And when you get the operation and the recovery out of the way, you start the therapy, physical and occupational therapy. Let me translate it to this economy. Marsha will do it for you. Kirk will do it for you. We stabilize the Barbados economy. And even while doing it, we said there were not enough buses. Buy some. You can imagine we buy 121 electric buses in 7 years when no government bought buses for 23 years in this country. And who uses the buses? Those who are not able to buy their own car. It is true that some will put down the car to be able to save money or to be able to get away from traffic sometimes. But for the most part, there are people who don't have other options. We use the money when we stabilize the bleeding to give those of you who are public servants 3 wage increases in 7 years when the last government gave you none and the last 8 years of their administration. We use the opportunity in stabilizing this economy to see those people who had been reduced to reverse tax credit of only $650 a year to tell you no. You are the people who earn the least in this country. And before, When we came to government, it was only people earning $1,500 and less. And you were only getting $650. And we said, no. Carry them back up to $1,300. And carry them back. Not just those earning $1,500 alone, but give everybody earning the equivalent of $2,080 a month, roughly. $25,000 a year. You understand that this government saw people who were not getting anything increase how much they could get, and then turn around and say the people who could get it should also increase from the people who are earning $1,500 a month to the people who also earning $2,080 a month. And I tell you, hold tight and meet me in Golden Square this weekend. Golden Square is the ancestral home of the Barbados Labour Party. And if we are to do a deal to give a new covenant with the people of Barbados, recognizing that Grant Lee Adams right through to Owen Arthur made it their purpose to see people who could not help themselves. We have not come here to pocket money in our pockets. We have come here to help poor people and stop them from being poor and to create a platform for middle class in Barbados, because the middle class is the engine of growth of this country and most countries. And then for those who want to soar beyond the foundation of the middle class, go to the world and go to the skies, my friend, because we must see our people rise and rise and rise and place no limits on where they can go. And you ask me why else I am happy to be here in the Ivy. We have an institution that this Barbados Republic, that is now in its 5th year of existence, must never forget. I have had the opportunity to accept many things in life. God has been good, and people have rewarded me with recognition on so many things. But one of the most proud things for me is when the Barbados Landship asked me to be its patron. Short there across the road, you know it's home, it's headquarters. And why does this matter? We talk about resilience today. And some people, Ralph says, what is this buzzword resilience? You remember in Parliament? Well, I know if it's a buzzword. But the only buzzword it could be, his problem is that he is so obsessed with bees that he using the word buzzword. But resilience is nothing new to Bajans. Were it not for resilience of our great-grandparents and great-great-grandparents and great-great-great-grandparents and further behind, we would not be standing here. And one of the institutions that they used, and the young people in this crowd, I beg you to listen and understand, because it is up to you to keep the message and the fire burning in this country. When the white slave masters and the colonial masters did not give people an opportunity, when they lived under the spirit of the 1661 Slave Code, believing that one race was superior to another, there were little opportunities for people to survive. And the Bajans of the day in the 19th century came together and formed the Barbados Landship Society. Like most things, it had the appearance and the mask of entertainment and recreation and culture. But at its core was the ability to pool what little you had to make it easier for families to live. And that is what they did. And they brought with them the concepts Some of you may have heard me speak about it in the Trevor Noah interview the other day, where we talk about a susu, a meet and turn. And when I said susu, Trevor looked at me, as have the Nigerians who were here for Carifesta. And they said, but we call it isusu. I said, well, you know, some letters get dropped across the Atlantic in the Middle Passage. That is a fact. And it is that institution that was at the core of the creation of the friendly societies and the co-ops. There are some in this crowd, not many now because I'm a little older than I like to remember, who will know that I had a grandfather who worked with the Civic, Ernest Mottley. And the use of the Civic and the Friendly Society to help many families in this country, in underprivileged neighborhoods. And therefore, when I tell you that it is one of the proudest moments of my life to become a patron of the Barbados Landship Society, the Barbados Landship, believe you me, this job will come and go. It's not who I am. It is what I do. But what I stand for and what I will work for as long as the Lord gives me breath is to be able to help people in the identity of this nation called Barbados. It is why we fought so hard to become a republic, so that we can truly be responsible for our own affairs and our destiny. Our anthem tells us, firm craftsmen of our fate. And I say to you in the Ivy tonight, that yes, we will deal with the realities of your needs, from water to a decent living, to be able to have a little more money in your pocket so you can bring dignity to you and your families. In the same way that we return free tertiary education to you, and many a family whose children had to drop out of university between 2013 and 18 were able to return. We will do those things. We will continue to upgrade our polyclinics and our hospital. We built a new accident and emergency. And yes, things may not all be where we want them to be, but we have given the resources that we can give. And we now start the difficult conversation about how all of us must step up to the plate to communicate better with each other, to be more accountable for what we agree to do our job. But even as we do all of that, it is the spiritual identity, it is the national identity, it is the spirit that drives us as Bajans that will determine whether we have the will to dig deep and to be able to build the resilience that we need now to go through what is the most perilous time in 80 years in the world. We face from climate crisis, and if you doubt it, if you could have talked to the man who died in Charro Bridge in the floods, he would tell you what he faced in his last moments. If you talk to the farmers who experienced droughts, or to the others who experienced in St. Lucie extreme weather events, extreme rain in areas that never flooded before, you would know that we are in a war against climate on planet Earth. But we are regrettably also seeing war among men and women internationally, coming closer and closer. And it therefore means that we have to take charge, yes, like that might tell me to do. Take charge of more of our destiny and more of our circumstances. To grow more, like Carmita said, of what we eat the food we grow, and grow the food we eat. And where we can't do it, look for closer sources. Don't only bring in from the States. Look at Venezuela, look at Brazil, look at Guyana, look at Suriname. Look more to develop markets in Africa. Because our problem is that our population is so small that we will always be charged higher amounts because there are too few of us. So how do we come together? And how do we import and agro-process and export so that if we needed X amount for 300,000 people, we can bring in 10 times that amount and export the surplus, but give Bajans a cheaper price on what we are using. I will have more time to explain these concepts to you if you give us permission to continue on the 11th of February. And I say to you, we have not been perfect, but I know no man or woman who is. But we have been a good government, and we have done good by the people of this nation. But we are not finished, because we have faced all kinds of challenges, but we have started the journey, and we are well on the way. If some are weary, I get it. I get weary too sometimes. But when we get weary, that is not the time to stop. That is the time to look at yourself in the mirror, breathe deep, and understand that we are made from tougher stock. And that those who went before faced worse times. And it is therefore not impossible for us to continue up the hill while weary. And I ask you tonight to join me and give me Trevor Prescott as my Member of Parliament for St. Michael East. I ask you to let us continue the good work for you infrastructurally. There is so much more I can talk about the National Sports Council and Blenheim. There is so much more I can talk about what we will be doing to reinforce the housing infrastructure so that if a real bad hurricane hits us, we can protect as many people as we can, and those who we can't protect, because we have been innovative, because we have been able to think outside the box, we have the resources that will allow us to take care of you in a way that no other government of Barbados will ever be able to do. And why do I say that? Because that simple thing called natural disaster clauses sound fancy. All it means is that if a real bad hurricane hit you like Melissa that hit Jamaica, or Ivan that hit Grenada, or Maria and Irma that hit Dominica, that we can tell the people who owe our debt, we stop paying debt for 2 years. You can imagine you home in a house. You got a mortgage to pay or rent to pay, and the biggest calamity hit you and your family, and they're going to say, okay, stabilize yourself. Take 2 years and don't pay nothing. You can pay me back at the end. That is what we have done for the whole country, and it will save us almost $2 billion over 2 years, so we can help people in this country who cannot access insurance or who are underinsured because the insurance premium's rising. My friends, I am supposed to be in Speightstown, but I wish I could talk here all night, because as usual, I am a St. Michael girl, and I feel an affinity with many of you because you have helped raise me over the last 35 years. And I say to you that I will never forget this journey and my experience of working with you. And while some may seem to feel that making difficult decisions is easy, I say to you that we make difficult decisions not as a destination in itself, but as a means to make life better. When your toe is bad and you got diabetes, doc, what do? You cut it off to save the leg, or to save yourself from blood poisoning with sepsis. And therefore, in the beginning days of this administration, we had to take some hard decisions, and we had COVID come upon us. But we adjusted, and we never put at risk your stability, your security. help me to continue the journey as leader of this country, leader of the Barbados Labour Party. Help Trevor Prescott become your member of parliament again, and let us meet in Golden Square this weekend so you can see why I am so excited about further consummating the deal with you, the people of Barbados. Good night and God bless you all.